what's good, you guys? It's Boomer and Jer watching Bally Star. Today, we're getting into the addiction that destroyed Drake's career. Now, let's see what that particular addiction is. I think I might have a clue, but yeah, let's get into the video and see what I think is what it is. Let's go.
I think that people have been making fun of him for such a long time that he has really internalized all that. And that dictates the way he probably moves behind the scenes. I'm your girl, and you're a girl, and you're a girl, because you treated me like this. You think I wasn't cool enough. He's been holding a lot.
And knowing how sensitive Drake is, bro. I mean, dude got pissed. He got PO'd, you know what I'm saying? Because Kendrick, like, went off on the Control verse. Everybody took it as like a form of competition and took it friendly, but Drake was the only one who took it another way, who felt some type of way. So knowing how sensitive he is, of course he internalized a lot of that ish, bruh.
And you're a girl, and you're a girl, because you treated me like this. You think I wasn't cool enough. He's been holding a lot close to the chest.
A lot of in the industry do not
wearing his heart on his sleeve.
Everybody's. That is not true. You introduce him to your girl, extra friendly, smiling.
He do that
exchanging numbers
19, 30, 40, 50, 60, and 70 times. And it ain't just rappers. The athletes, the actors, the golfers, the executives, the tech people.
What
is the real issue with you in marriage? Now I gotta dig in and see, what's your family like? Oh, your dad left you at 5. Oh, I get that. He never walked you to the bus stop. You're mad about this.
Since the beginning of his career, Drake's relationship with women has always been at the forefront of his music. Whether his songs were about going through a breakup, occasionally depicting himself as sensitive, or outright portraying himself as a simp, Drake seemed to genuinely admire women. But over time, things drastically changed, until the point he morphed into the self-proclaimed certified lover boy. From venting his feelings of loneliness to an ex on Marvin's Room, through to accusations of rampant misogyny on the 21 Savage assisted Her Loss, even Drizzy's claim that the only woman he loves is his mom on God's Plan was a drastic departure from when he was actively trying to settle down. But where the good guy image was once intact and helped skyrocket his career to the top, that's long gone now and replaced with the perception that, as Kendrick said, Drizzy doesn't even like women. In fact, he only values them when it comes to sexual gratification, and as a way to have a one-up on his enemies and friends. In short, there's now a belief that Drake has a serious sex addiction, which has basically created the predicament he finds himself in today.
And I heard that when you have a sex addiction, like, you tend to not even like the regular things about that particular thing you're addicted to anymore. It's like, no, you gotta have more of it, and you gotta have like a stronger dose of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially when you talk about sex addiction, it's like for example, when you're for people when they're addicted to like pornography, it's like, they just can't watch the usual anymore because like they watch it every day, watch the mutual man and woman relations every day. So it's like, they gotta have something stronger, and that's where they dive into different types of corn. Different. So it could be the same with like a sex addict. It's like just can't be like one woman. Now it's gotta be like 3. It's like once you have had enough of 3, now it's gotta be like 5. And once you had enough of just, I guess, women, you dive into other things because like gotta have more, but now you have different things. You know what I'm saying? You gotta switch it up and have, to get that stronger dosage as an addict. So I'm gonna just say different because they could dive into multiple different things. So yeah, I mean, given what Kendrick said on Not Like Us, I'ma just leave it there.
Drake has a serious sex addiction, which has basically created the predicament he finds himself in today.
He presents himself as like this smart, composed, thoughtful businessman, but your friends' girls, you're not them for them, by the way. There's tons of bad. You're not just doing it to get a nut. You're man. That's what you're doing. It sounds crazy, but that's what it's about. I'm going to do something that I know that I'm going to have over you.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. Currently operating in a state that may fill a void inside him while deviating from the image that first made him successful, Drake has made it clear that he's not a one-woman man at this point in his life, nor does he plan to change that. And while that makes him...
And I swear, I don't know if I said this before, but I'll say it now, and this will forever be in my mind. Rihanna twisted, this man. He wanted Rihanna so bad. I think he wanted to wife her, like, and the fact that he couldn't have her, that diverted his route. You know what I'm saying? His way of thinking, and diverted him towards this path. Other than, like, who knows how Drake could have been if he had gotten Rihanna. You know, like maybe he could have remained the same Drake or so. I'm thinking he could remain the same Drake if he had gotten Rihanna. It's like was it a multiverse type of thing? You know, the dimension where he got Rihanna and the dimension where he didn't. This is the dimension where he didn't, and now this is the Drake we got from those occurrences of not getting Rihanna. We got this Drake.
Different from many other superstars. The problem for the Sixth God is that there's a feeling of spite and self-sabotage.
Rihanna and Nicki Minaj, because I know he really wanted Nicki Minaj. Possibly not the wife, but he really wanted, like, I remember it was his song. He made a couple songs actually, but yeah, he kept talking about Nicki. Is like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, then it was Riri, but now I feel like Riri really done this man's mind dirty, bro.
As to how he goes about it, that has nearly destroyed his career several times over. So, let's break down the roots of this addiction and how it's been hiding in plain sight for a long time now. When you pattern yourself as a ladies' man, it's really no surprise that you might ruffle some feathers or act impulsively when things don't go your way. Just look at what happened in the aftermath of Drake flying a fresh-faced Ice Spice out to OVO Fest, only to suddenly cut ties with her when it appeared he didn't get what he wanted out of her.
It's been speculated that Drake unfollowed you afterwards. Do you want to tell us some tea on that?
He did. I don't know why, though.
Shame on you, Drake. Shame on you. You shouldn't have done that.
Happy to ghost someone in an instant, Drake's objectives with up-and-comers like Ice come into focus when you see how much he prides himself on being a bachelor. So, when he doesn't get his way, his superstardom allows him to move in a way without any consequences. And this behavior was further highlighted in an interview with Angie Martinez, where French Montana basically lifted the lid on how Drake operates.
Yes.
There's people with more reputation than me.
Drake is close, but you and Drake are friends.
Splash Bros. Snipe Squad. You know, he gave me the Snipe Squad thing. 10 rules, 10 snipe commandments. Thou shalt not snipe a bro's ting. Thou shalt never pillow talk or discuss business with a ting. On any import from the United States.
Funny because that's what he did. No, Metro did. Okay, yeah, never mind.
Canada or any other region. Thou shalt practice a maximum 3-day export rule to avoid frustration. If you fly anybody in, give them 3 days so you can avoid frustration. 3 days maximum.
With Drake basically retaining the mindset of a man in his 20s, it explains why Drizzy also doesn't care whose toes he steps on, including sniping someone else's ting. Take for instance the story of Naomi Sharon. Unlike Ice Spice, it's believed that she welcomed Drake's advances despite being in an 8-year relationship. To make matters worse, Drake had worked out with her then boyfriend just days before, only to later post an IG picture after the story broke captioned, "Without remorse." Dirty. Imagine having the most beautiful, supportive, and faithful relationship 8 years long with an engagement and wedding plan.
But then again, it's like it takes two to tango. You feel me? She, like he said, she welcomed his advances. So,
fiance Jamie Sun said. Then this major opportunity comes and a world star calls your fiance to sign a record deal. Flies you both over, and then, out of nowhere, all the trust has vanished with knives in your back and in your heart. I am no longer with the person people think I am together with. I am no longer with the 8 years I thought I was together with. With someone like Jamie participating in the music industry at a lower level, Drake clearly had no concerns when it came to trampling over his life to get what he wanted. But even though we got away with just a bit of reputational damage that time, recently, it's become clear that Drake's promise to French Montana about never getting involved with someone else's girl was just talk. Because when you look back, Drake has a habit of bringing women into almost all of his beefs with other rappers. And in the view of one of his biggest supporters and academics, this is where Drake has been a habitual line crosser.
I keep asking people and they're like, yo, listen, man, Drake's a little sloppy with it. All these guys, they share the same crop of girls. It's a thin line between like, yo, these are like the community chicks that we all and, yo, you're doing certain to kind of like disrespect.
In Axe View, this has always been a key part of how Drake has operated, long before it led Future to call him a fan on We Don't Trust You. Case in point, just look at why his decade-long feud with CB started.
Imagine how bold Drake was when Drake sends a bottle over there with a note that says, "I'm the love of your life." That was supposedly the note. And right then, beef starts. So Drake is in the club, supposedly with Meek and some other people, and Chris Brown is there. And Drake sends a thing over to be like, I'm the love of your life.
Drake is a savage.
Yeah, you gotta keep the girl away from Drake.
Back when Drake and Chris had some bad blood over Rihanna, the whole thing likely made things awkward at parties, but didn't really spill out onto record or really even enter the public consciousness at the time. But that hasn't always been the case. And much like his dispute over Princess Diana with Future, it was his decision to mess with other people's girls that led his ghostwriting scandal with Quentin Miller to come to light in the first place. In turn, creating a narrative that's haunted him ever since.
That's how the whole thing started with even the reference tracks. DJ Drama says, bro, he didn't write that. The guy in my studio in Atlanta, he recorded it, and Drake just sang it over. That's how that starts. So two guys who thought Drake, their chicks, basically created that moment.
But while all of these incidents could have been damaging to his career, if you need to look at how far Drake will push it when it comes to women, look no further than him betraying his very own mentor when he was at his lowest. A story that was brought to light in a bar by Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us. The allegations that Drake on Wayne's girl when he was in jail have actually been
and not only that, but I said this in my other video. Well, I didn't say this, but I referenced like that Drake went to an all-white party. You know what I'm saying, in my video dropping along with this one. That, yeah, Lil Wayne was also at the all-white party, and him and Drake didn't even talk at the all-white party, bro. Lil Wayne said that like the only hip-hop artist that came up to him at that party was Glorilla. Drake was there, and he didn't even come up to him. Like, what? And you got this man tatted on you, bro?
Down for a while, and to Weezy's credit, he's done his best to shoot Drake some bail.
Oh, I wasn't worried about that. That's just how life goes when you locked up. She still be texting me and stuff, you know?
However, this is only one side of the real story that never gets reported. Because as Weezy disclosed in his autobiography, this actually took a real toll on him. As a man, he wrote, I woke up still feeling messed up about the f***ed up day that I had. Hell is what it was. I'm used to arguing with my girl on a daily basis, but finding out that she'd messed with Drake was the absolute worst thing I could have found out. Seemingly happy to backstab one of the people who had done the most for his career, this would point to the sheer depths of Drake's issues when it comes to his addiction. But as for how Drake's addiction manifested in the first place, there's a couple of theories, but both boil down to the same thing. It's his way of getting back at the tough times in his youth, or proving everyone wrong who doubted that a suburban Jewish kid from Toronto could make it big in hip-hop. And during an in-depth conversation on the Joe Budden podcast, they weighed in on how people's perceptions of him influenced his tendency to forget his loyalties and go after women who should be off limits.
Let's have a real conversation about how talk about Drake behind the scenes and how people in the industry talk about Drake and how they view him. View Drake like he's a corny who grew up not getting no and now he got money and now he's able to afford that, right?
Left with a deficit he's now trying to make up for, this explains some of the recklessness in how Drake pursues women. Because for him, it's personal, and a way to further assert his place at the top.
Bottom line is, most of these in the industry that have grown up a certain way don't like that this moves in the fashion he moved because they never had a respect for him. You just said that a lot of the industry do that. A lot of the industry do not try to everybody's. That is not true. You introduce him to your girl, extra friendly, smiling.
And he do that
exchanging numbers
19, 30, 40, 50, 60, and 70 times. And it ain't just rappers. The athletes, the actors, the golfers, the executives, the tech people.
The difference is you might be more comfortable being way more vocal about that you never respected than the other.
While Joe Budden thinks that this is all about how he's been treated in the game and is now trying to get back, others feel it goes deeper than just rap. According to Nadeska and Ebro, it goes back to how he's been treated by the world as a whole, not just the industry. Because when the world has looked down on him or made him a figure of sad boy memes, being the guy who could steal your girl in a moment's notice is his way of proving himself as the star he always saw himself as.
I think that people have been making fun of him for such a long time that he has really internalized all that. And that dictates the way he probably moves behind the scenes.
I know he rapped about it on a couple of songs. I think it was in mid Take Care to Nothing Was the Same in between both albums. He would drop songs that would say all that stuff about him being the simp guy and stuff, and you know what I'm saying, like, I guess saying that he didn't want to be that way, he wanted to change it. I think it was between that time, or maybe between Nothing Was the Same and Views, that time, in between that time. Because I remember him saying that, him rapping that on a couple songs a long time ago.
and you're a girl, and you're a girl, because you treated me like this. You think I wasn't cool enough. He's been holding a lot close to the chest.
Due to social media and people listing all of the people, it was like a list of 40 people that Drake either has problems or has had problems with. Right. The women, the men, the women have decided to be with. At a certain point, you start going, wait, it can't be everybody else, bro.
But above all, it's not just Drake's obvious over-reliance on sex that's the issue, nor even his ruthless backstabbing of his enemies. The real problem is how his behavior and personal circumstances have shaped a negative attitude towards women that threatens to be his downfall. Because from Pusha T to Kendrick Lamar, every time that he's been forced to take an L in a battle is when he comes at someone's spouse or fiance. And in Pusha's view, this goes all the way back to the trials and tribulations of his youth.
Now I gotta dig deeper. What is the real issue with you in marriage? Now I gotta dig in and see, what's your family like? Oh, your dad left you at 5. Oh, I get that. He never walked you to the bus stop. You're mad about this.
Left without a strong role model and instead given a father who's still chasing girls himself to this day in a slightly creepy way, it explains why Drake thinks nothing of getting involved with someone else's girl, nor discrediting someone else's wife. While for someone like Pusha, Kendrick, or even A$AP Rocky, who adopted the Drizzy beef after lying about his wife from For All the Dogs, this wouldn't be an option. In turn, creating the sense that Drake may have plenty of relationships. For someone like Pusha, Kendrick, or even A$AP Rocky, who adopted the Drizzy beef after lying about his wife from For All the Dogs, this wouldn't be an option. In turn, creating the sense that Drake may have plenty of relationships with women, but doesn't ultimately respect them. Left embarrassed by his own actions, and with his peers now calling him out, Drake's gotten a serious wake-up call to change his ways. Because if he doesn't, this addiction might destroy his career, his legacy, and maybe even his life.
Yeah, no, that's crazy, man. Like, and again, like, what rings in my mind holds true. It's like, you know, when you don't get a lot of poom poom when you're young, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, when you're viewed as that guy who don't get none, you know what I'm saying? Like, as you get older and you start to get some, you tend to go a little bit crazy with it because you never had it when you were younger. As opposed to, like, you know, when you had it when you were younger, when you got poom poom when you were younger, it's like, you know, it gets old as you get older because it's like, you know, I've been there, done that type ish. You feel me? But again, if you never had when you were younger, when you start to get it, you start to go crazy. And, you know, when you're practically 40, acting like your 20s is because you're not in your 20s and, you know, acting that way. Because, you know, you couldn't. You feel me? And yeah, bruh. Y'all let me know your thoughts about down in the comment section down below. It's Boomer. You're watching Ballystar. Leave a like, explode the video. If you enjoy, subscribe. If you're new, I'm going to catch y'all in the next one. 100. Oh!
Yeah. Yeah.